Namaskar. Today we're going to address a question that's asked quite a bit, and that is, what skills would we consider to be valuable here when we grade exams, or when we're watching teachers teach mock classes, or actually live classes, or when we're reviewing film? What do we consider good teachers, the ingredients for them to have? And the 6 skills are, and I'm going to break them down individually, but demonstration skills, cueing skills, modifications, safety, assisting, and compassion, which is really not a skill, but we're going to get to each one. So, demonstration skills. This is one, for example, where you show a technique and then your students copy you. This is for those people who are visual learners. Now, I also know of a teacher who I met personally who's in a wheelchair who teaches classes and actually does not do the postures but describes them very well, does not do some of the other things that can be done but describes them very well, and has one of her senior students demonstrate. She wheels herself around and she actually does modifications and assisting. My point is that if, and I've seen this person run classes, if a person like that can run classes, I say anyone should be able to run classes where demonstration skills are expected. In other words, what she's doing is she's using her best example of a student on the floor and having them doing a posture, and everyone else follows along. Now, most of you don't have any problems there, but this is just one example if you ever did. Cueing skills are when we verbally communicate to our students. How do we get the message across? These are for the people who learn by listening. Some people are very good. I've noticed that a lot of teachers have very good cueing skills. Some teachers really describe everything in very good detail. So this is one where often I see a lot of teachers have this skill. Modification. Not everyone needs a modification. Not everyone needs to use props. Some people do. Some people should use props most of the time. So where do you draw the line? You're looking at alignment, so you've got to learn how alignments go. And modification sometimes could be in pranayama as well. What if I have a student who has some kind of a problem breathing where they cannot breathe through their nose on a specific technique? Maybe they have something going on up here in the nasal passages that inhibits their ability to properly practice a technique through the nose. They're going to have to learn to modify. So not all modifications are for asanas. Sometimes they're modifications for meditation, for that matter. Safety. Safety is something that you should always be practicing. The minute a potential student walks in the door, this should be a safe atmosphere for them to learn in. One example of a way to just have some safety guidelines automatically is to have a list of guidelines for students to follow, and also to have a questionnaire. If you need a sample of a questionnaire, you can go on our site, go into the community, go to the forum, and look it up. There's an area where you will find there's at least 3 samples of questionnaires. Also, assisting. Not everyone needs to be assisted, and when you assist someone, there is a procedure. One would be asking them if it's okay to give them an assist. Some people might say it all depends on what part of the world you're from, that it's crazy, I can't go around asking each one. Well, in the United States, you should ask everyone if they need an assist first before you make one. And don't assist or adjust anyone's neck. And when you're adjusting necks and spines and so forth, you should have a chiropractor's license, or you might want to make sure that you have some other credential that's going to reflect when you're adjusting people's spines or their necks. Compassion. This really is something where this should not have to be a skill. This should have already occurred within someone before they decided to become a yoga teacher. Nevertheless, if someone's compassion chip is a little off, they should be working on compassion daily before they teach classes, because you're going to have to always try to have a student maintain interest without being too harsh as far as maybe they are not the ideal student. Maybe they're a person who struggles. But there's another thing. Sometimes those students who struggle and get it, or we learn ways to modify for them, they end up sometimes being your best students. So compassion is really important. Right off the top, you shouldn't be rude to anyone, and that means not just in classes, that means rude in life. If I leave here and I'm rude to other people outside of this class, then I'm not practicing compassion, and that is part of what we do. Those are the 6 skills. I wish you all a nice week. Om Shanti.